It's encouraging to see that we all want to go so far. So we're going to go now back to France from this European and maybe world perspective. And we're going to be able to listen to Olivia Grégoire, who is the Secretary of State for a social economy and socially and responsible economy. And she's also going to address us on the video.
Chers amis, je suis très heureuse de pouvoir m'adresser à vous aujourd'hui, car j'ai bien cru que je n'aurais en réalité jamais l'occasion de le faire. Je nous revois il y a plus d'1 an, aux côtés de Jeanne Barséguian, la mère bien entendu, mais aussi Pia Ims, discuter ensemble de cet événement de grande ampleur que nous voulions proposer ici à Strasbourg, dans cette ville si importante, symbole de notre Europe, mais aussi de notre attachement à l'économie sociale et solidaire. Oui, je nous revois, il y a encore 6 mois, quand la pandémie nous obligeait, avec d'immenses regrets, à prendre une décision difficile, reporter cette très grande manifestation qui devait initialement se dérouler, comme vous le savez, en février, mais enfin, nous y sommes et nous y sommes arrivés. Je vous devine évidemment excité, impatient devant les perspectives qui s'ouvrent à vous sur ces 2 prochains jours. Aujourd'hui, mais aussi demain, les acteurs de l'économie sociale et solidaire sont tous réunis à Strasbourg pour construire, pour échanger, pour rêver ensemble au futur de l'Europe. Un futur qui devra nécessairement être plus social et nécessairement plus solidaire, nous le savons, nous le voyons. Les défis sont trop nombreux pour prétendre que l'économie peut continuer comme avant. L'économie, elle doit repartir en avant, bien sûr, mais avec un profond renouvellement, avec une remise en cause même de certains de ses modèles, mais aussi de ses méthodes. La crise, elle était climatique et sociale, elle est aujourd'hui également sanitaire, ne l'oublions pas, et militaire, nous ne le savons que trop. À l'heure où l'Europe doit se réinventer, à l'heure même où l'Europe est possiblement menacée, l'économie sociale et solidaire montre un chemin, une voie, et l'Europe est plus que jamais déterminée à prendre ce chemin. J'ai pu le constater très récemment quand nous avons réuni ici, à Bercy, en février dernier, 23 des 27 États membres pour réagir au plan d'action de la Commission européenne dans le cadre de la présidence française de l'Union. Réunion pour laquelle je me suis beaucoup engagé et sur lequel je dois absolument remercier, saluer l'engagement, le sérieux, la détermination du travail du commissaire Nicolas Schmit au service de notre économie sociale en Europe. C'était la première fois, c'est donc historique, que les ministres de l'Union européenne se réunissaient dans ce format, une conférence de ministres informelle. Et cette première rencontre a été particulièrement porteuse puisque dès le mois suivant, c'était les 27 ministres européens de l'emploi qui, sous la présidence de ma collègue Elisabeth Borne, discutaient quant à eux des suites à donner à ce plan qui devrait se concrétiser dans les prochains mois par l'adoption d'une recommandation au Conseil. Alors, en réalité, cette présidence française de l'Union européenne, malgré le contexte, malgré les difficultés, elle a été très fructueuse. Et je crois qu'on peut se réjouir de l'impulsion décisive que notre pays a donnée à la structuration institutionnelle, à l'harmonisation même institutionnelle des modèles d'économie sociale et solidaire en Europe. Toutefois, cette reconnaissance institutionnelle, elle est d'abord la conséquence de la formidable mobilisation des acteurs sur le terrain et c'est pourquoi nous ne devons pas relâcher nos efforts. L'économie sociale et solidaire, elle existe dans les faits par vous, grâce à vous, et elle existera dans les politiques publiques par vous. Je ne peux donc qu'insister sur l'opportunité de ces 2 jours qui s'offrent à vous. Vous êtes venus avec des idées, avec des retours d'expérience, avec vos propres pratiques. Il est indispensable que vous repartiez avec des projets européens bien sûr, des projets nationaux également, mais aussi des projets locaux. Parce que l'Europe, ça n'est certainement pas, contrairement à ce que certains s'évertuent à nous faire croire, un machin bureaucratique que ces contempteurs se plaisent à dénoncer, avec facilité d'ailleurs. L'Europe, ce sont des milliers de réalités humaines qui sont concrètement transformées par la solidarité. L'Europe, ça n'est pas qu'un marché unique. C'est un modèle unique qu'il ne tient qu'à nous d'ailleurs de faire évoluer pour un futur où l'économie sociale et solidaire peut, je dirais même doit, faire sentir toute sa valeur humaine ajouter. Vive l'économie sociale et solidaire des femmes et des hommes. Vive l'Europe des Européennes et des Européens. Vive l'ESS à Strasbourg. Très belle journée à vos côtés.
J'étais né à Londres parce que mes parents ne pouvaient pas rentrer dans leur pays qui était la Pologne. Donc je n'ai pas participé à la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Mais Claude Alfandery, il l'a fait. C'est un vétéran de cette guerre. C'est aussi un des héros français et internationaux de l'économie sociale et solidaire. Et on va écouter quelques mots de cette centenaire, oui, 100 years old, Claude Alfandery.
Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à cette grande conférence de l'économie sociale et solidaire à Strasbourg. Je n'ai pas pu malheureusement venir, mais je voulais vous adresser quelques mots. Tourner vers le futur, comme le propose notre conférence, il n'est pas moins bon, je crois, de regarder le passé, de réfléchir sur les bouleversements qui nous basculent depuis un siècle. Ces crises, et particulièrement l'effondrement financier de 2008, ont entraîné partout en Europe un retrait de l'État-providence et une aggravation alarmante des inégalités sociales et des risques écologiques. Mais par bonheur, parce que souvent le meilleur est issu du pire, elles ont en réaction, et il faut dire aussi l'arrivée de la pandémie du Covid, elles ont entraîné de multiples initiatives individuelles ou collectives, associatives, coopératives ou commerciales, qui, à travers toute l'Europe, se lèvent sur chaque territoire en liaison étroite avec les habitants. Elles tendent, ces initiatives, à répondre par la solidarité, par la coopération, par l'intelligence collective, par l'invention, aux difficultés créées par les inégalités sociales et les menaces écologiques, et à créer ainsi un écosystème profondément rénové. Mais ces belles expériences, car ce sont de belles expériences, n'atteignent leurs objectifs qu'au bénéfice de liens multiples entre des activités qui se croisent et doivent se coordonner. L'écologie et le bien social doivent aller de pair. Par exemple, une agriculture biologique, si nécessaire, doit en même temps se préoccuper de sa commercialisation, de ses prix, de ses stocks, de la communication de ceux qui l'achètent. C'est une coordination qui est difficile, qui est nécessaire et sans laquelle les meilleurs produits ne se vendent pas. On peut dire la même chose dans notre exemple, c'est un centre de santé ne s'occupe pas que de médicaments, mais bien entendu de la façon de vivre, de bouger, d'habiter, de s'alimenter. Et d'autre part, toutes ces initiatives agissent et se composent dans un espace commun, l'espace européen où elles partagent l'air, l'eau, les communications, l'histoire aussi, les voisins, les épidémies, et doivent donc faire l'objet d'une politique européenne de protection et d'usage, d'une politique européenne commune. Et enfin, née de l'énergie des citoyens, il est bien sûr qu'elles dépendent aussi du soutien des pouvoirs publics. Coupés les uns des autres, ceux-ci et ceux-là sont réduits à l'impuissance. Il faut donc absolument réunir, trouver le bon lien entre ces actions, ces initiatives formidables des citoyens et les pouvoirs publics qui doivent les soutenir. Je pense que vous ressentez tous l'importance de ces liens, mais ils ne vont pas de soi, et il appartient précisément à notre conférence de dégager les moyens de les resserrer, de les approfondir par la mise en œuvre de projets concertés et donc de bâtir avec les citoyens l'Europe de demain. Merci beaucoup.
So for him, tomorrow's Europe is important too, and for us, I think, very much so. I wanted to just say two things in summary of this morning. It's so important that the people who are the leaders of our society, of the leaders of our communities, recognize the importance of social and solidarity economy. And I would like to add to that one of the fundamental elements of the structuring of this conference, which has been different from the previous ones. It was a co-constructed process. Strasbourg, Jeanne, Saint-Aguilman, myself and many others, we've tried to bring people together to decide together how we want to use this time for the best way. So please, in your programs, you can discover very many things that you can go and find in this building. I'm not going to do that precisely now, at another moment perhaps, as we are running late. But please get interested into the territory area, get interested in the transition area, get interested in the youth area, and see what you can take from that when you go home. And I think this going home thing is really very, very important. I would like to know what it is that you're going to have in your luggage from this conference, and I'm not talking about things, I'm talking about ideas and plans. I'll be very interested to know what is going to be in your luggage when you take your plane, your bus, your train, or your car to go home, because it is what we take back from the conference, which, after all, is central to the meaning of such enormous meetings. Commissioner Schmit, would you like to come and join me here? We're going to go straight into the next part. I would also like to invite Juan Antonio Pedreño, who is the President of Social Economy Europe. I'd like to invite Diana Ghinea, who is from Coompanion in Sweden. I'd like to invite Deirdre Garvey from the Wheel in Ireland. And I would like to invite Angela Achitei, President of the Foundation ADV from Romania. Please take a seat. So as it often happens in situations like this, we have lost, well, half an hour easily. And so we're going to try and without a break to go on. And Commissioner Schmit, you've been mentioned by so many people. You're so well known. I'd like to ask you very, very casually, what is the situation together with the plan which you have started, which you have signed, which you have brought into action in December? We are today in a few months later. Are there some obstacles? Is it going well? How will we organize for it to bloom, this plan? It has to bloom and produce results.
Well, good morning, everybody. So it's a great pleasure, obviously, also for me to be here. And I'm delighted by all the statements which have been made, especially the last one by Mr. Alfanderi. So this is very encouraging for somebody who is involved with the development, promotion of social economy for a few years already. Now, you asked me about the action plan. The action plan was the action plan of the Commission, launched by the Commission, but launched by the Commission after a long period of debates and inputs coming from all areas, and especially from all the actors of the social economy. And now I would say the action plan belongs to all of us, and especially to those who are in the forefront to implement it. So it's not anymore only the action plan of the Commission. It's the action plan of the societies, and especially of the actors of the social economy.
So the baby is born and it's growing.
Well, and the parents are there, but there's a broad family taking care of the baby. And I'm inspired and I'm very hopeful what I heard, that everybody now is talking about this action plan. And I think this is the first big success. We have put now social economy not only on the agenda, but we have given it a very prominent place on this agenda. And I
Come
think
on,
this
give
is-
it an applause,
This
please.
is important.
I'd like to ask Juan Antonio Pedreño. You are the president of Social Economy Europe, so a privileged partner of the Commissioner and of the Commission. How do you react to the situation? What is your opinion today?
Bueno, Social Economy Europe, buenos días. En primer lugar, es un placer estar aquí en este acto conmemorativo de representación y de visibilidad de la economía social. Social Economy Europe es la única organización representativa del conjunto de los intereses comunes de la economía social en Europa. Representa a las cooperativas, mutualidades, a todas las formas jurídicas, cooperativas, mutualidades, asociaciones, fundaciones, empresas sociales, bancos éticos y organizaciones cúpulas de la economía social en los diferentes países, que es muy importante para el desarrollo de la economía social en cada uno de estos países. Precisamente ayer celebramos, además, somos 20 miembros, y ayer celebramos la Asamblea de Social Economy aquí en Estrasburgo, con la presencia del comisario y de la alcaldesa también, e incorporamos a 2 socios nuevos, a la Academia Social de Economía Social de Ucrania y a Schmit de Pomerania, de Polonia. Somos 20, representamos muchos ejercicios y tenemos la representatividad de 2,8 millones de empresas en Europa, 13,6 millones de empleos, el 6,3%. Y hay un gran reto, sobre todo. El reto es crecer y cambiar de escala. Aprovechar este momento que está viviendo la economía social para cambiar de escala, para solucionar muchos de los problemas que tenemos, que el plan de acción recoge en sus propuestas, en sus 39 propuestas, recoge muchos de los retos que tenemos, pero estoy convencido que con un cambio de escala, ese crecimiento que esperamos, porque hay muchos países que, en fin, hay algunos países que están en el 8, 9, 10% de importancia de la economía social, pero otros países están en el 0,5 y el 2%. El potencial de crecimiento de la economía social es importantísimo y tenemos que tener la consideración de que cuando crece la economía social, crece cada una de las familias de la economía social. Y este cambio de escala nos tiene que dar una mayor perspectiva, mayor interlocución, mayor posibilidad. Ahora bien, es imposible que crezca, o es muy difícil que crezca la economía social sin marcos jurídicos y políticos adecuados. No es posible. Tenemos la experiencia, por ejemplo, del Gobierno de España, donde la Ley de Economía Social ha significado un salto absolutamente importante en la interlocución, en la elaboración de políticas, en contemplar a la economía social en todas las políticas que tiene el país en este sentido. Por tanto, tenemos el reto de la elaboración de esos marcos jurídicos, esas leyes de economía social en aquellos países que en este momento no hay. El plan de acción contempla estas posibilidades. Esos marcos jurídicos y el plan de acción tiene que contemplar un concepto, un perímetro de la economía social, una definición conceptual de la economía social, que sea amplia, que no genere tensión, que contemple todas las formas de la diversidad de la economía social. Y esto también lo contempla el plan de acción. Por tanto, es muy positivo. El plan de acción es un paraguas que va a dar cobertura a todos los países europeos para elaborar esos marcos jurídicos, los que no lo tienen. Necesitamos la visibilidad, trasladar a la sociedad el impacto social, el conocimiento y el reconocimiento de lo que la economía social supone en Europa. Y, por supuesto...
Monsieur le Président, dans certains pays, l'économie sociale est très forte. Dans certains pays, elle est moins forte, elle est naissante. Comment on peut faire à ce que le playing field pour le match de foot soit plus équilibré? Est-ce qu'il y a des choses dans le plan qui est le nôtre, le bébé? Est-ce que dans le plan, on va pouvoir améliorer la situation dans d'autres pays?
Sí, estamos convencidos que sí. Hay países como Francia, España, Portugal, Italia, Bélgica, Irlanda, que la economía social tiene una presencia importante. Y estamos convencidos que el plan de acción va a permitir acercarnos a otros países donde la economía social tiene menos presencia. Ahí, desde Social Economy, estamos ya trabajando precisamente en colaboración con Lituania, con Rumanía. Vamos la semana que viene, vamos a Rumanía también, para desarrollar estas políticas y, sobre todo, sensibilizar, que es importante, sensibilizar con estas políticas a los gobiernos para que introduzcan esas políticas públicas en favor de la economía social. No olvidemos que en Toledo 17 gobiernos fueron firmantes de la elaboración o estar de acuerdo en elaborar políticas públicas en favor de la economía social. Pero hace 2 meses, en París, 23 gobiernos de la Unión Europea se han unido para adoptar medidas conjuntas en favor de la economía social. Por tanto, estamos ya casi en el 80% de los países de la Unión Europea que están de acuerdo en promover, en aprovechar este momento para desarrollar la economía social, aprovechando que queremos liderar esa transición verde, el empleo de calidad, crear más empleos para más personas y mejores empleos.
Merci beaucoup. I'd like to give the floor to some of the other people here. We're in a balance between men and women on the stage, so we won one, but we won't win them all. And I'd like to ask Diana Ghinea from Coompanion in Sweden. You are a more national, more local structure. You're working in green and digital transitions, if I'm not wrong. How do you approach? If you could present your structure just very shortly and then refer to the Social Economy Development Plan, how do you see it from your point of view?
Thank you for your question. Yes, I represent Coompanion. Coompanion, it's a Swedish organization, a resource organization actually for the social economy. And we have been starting, developing and organizing social enterprises in more than 30 years now, which is to say that, well, we have been fairly successful, but not as successful as our colleagues in other countries. So we still have a long way to go. Coompanion, it's organized in 25 regional offices, which give us a very strong network all through Sweden in the country. And this also, we are very well connected at the local and regional level, which means that we have the bottom-up perspective. We are very much connected to the needs of the social enterprises. We start about 400 enterprises every year, most of them being like cooperatives. And we have a good understanding of the system and how the system works. And here is the most important gap as we see it when it comes from the social enterprises perspective, that the ability to navigate and find the ways into the system. In Sweden, the social enterprises are not well integrated into the system, in the public system. I would also like to say that what is important for us, I would like to bring up in the social action plan, it's also the focus on socially responsible public procurement, which we found as very challenging and very important at the same time, and the access to capital and financial instruments, and especially non-extractive business model and non-extractive financing.
So the public money which is being spent, is there an opposition to it being spent in a socially responsible way? Can we pinpoint this? At what point does that happen?
Well, I wouldn't say there is an opposition, but there is, as the social action plan is also highlighting, not enough awareness and not enough knowledge. So what we are doing from Coompanion level, we really try to work with the public authorities in order to raise this awareness about the importance and the benefits of the working with socially responsible public procurement, and also always highlighting the social impact that the actors in the social economy are having for the general economy and society as such.
Thank you very much. If you want to comment, please come in. There's no problem. Deirdre, Garvey, Ireland, across the sea. The wheel, what is the wheel? In 2 words or 3.
National Association in Ireland for Social Economy Organisations.
Great.
It's the shortest I can give you. Slightly longer would be including those organisations that act at a very local, community-based level, right through to formal, large, sort of professional service delivery, essential service delivery structures. And as we know, one of the issues is the sometimes quicksand or treacle. So in terms of getting the concepts of the social economy well understood, it can be that many different countries use the different terminologies and the types of social economy organisations in different ways. So in Ireland, quite often social enterprise, social economy, social innovation, civil society and community organisations quite often do get used interchangeably. So our 2,000 members would represent in and around 40% of the total workforce of the social economy organisations, which at its broadest level of interpretation and its most inclusive is around 160,000 in total. So about 60,000 would be represented through our membership. And I guess in that sense, one of the first things I would like to congratulate Commissioner Schmit and the Commission is the inclusivity of the definition in the Social European and Social Economy Action Plan. The fact that it explicitly names associations, mutuals, cooperatives, we all know what they are, and includes charities. I think certainly in the Irish context, the way the definitions and the legal structures work in Ireland, that's very helpful. And if I could pick up on some of the analogy from Commissioner Schmit about the parents who'd given birth to the action plan, where is it now? I would like to think that as national associations in all of our different countries, that we are, in one sense, foster parents now of this action plan. And certainly I would see the wheels role in this as we represent our members' interests and then provide support and skills building and opportunities. And I think where we see the action plan implementation in Ireland, firstly, again, I must also commend the Irish government. In this particular instance, we have been, with others, lobbying over many years to see a social enterprise policy in our country, and very happy to see one published in 2019, our very first one. So that is a start, right? And it is, in one sense, the government themselves see this as a transition policy to the next one. So we're involved in the oversight of the implementation of that and the development of the next policy.
So I'm going to pick up on that word transition, because in the English language and the French language it seems to mean a hell of a lot. In some of the Central European languages, change, transition, evolution. How do you understand the word transition? What does it actually mean?
Well, for Ireland, we have a long tradition over many hundreds of years of what would be called now formally work-integrated social enterprise and mutuals and cooperatives. So it's very much embedded in the Irish view of culture. The policy itself speaks about a wide range of social enterprise and social economy. So what we mean, I think, by just the first social enterprise policy that's now in its third year, it's the very first time that some of these concepts were articulated at the level of national policy. And what we are all collectively using this first policy for is a little bit of experimentation. We have a phrase in English, I don't know how well the translators will deal with it, but it's called kind of sucking and seeing.
Sucking and
taste it.
It's back to babies again, ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
So we say we're tasting some of these concepts and seeing how they float across the different government departments, because some of the real obstacles that we see, challenges, are the familiarity, the understanding of this concept. It is a serious business. It is a serious part of the economy. In Ireland, we have a situation where only recently, thanks to a lot of work pushing from our part, we have made the National Skills Agenda, which up until now has been very driven by private and public skills that the economy needs. We are now successfully inputting this into actually skills that the social economy needs and augmenting and making that more holistic and more complete. And that will make the next strategy that is currently being developed and which we're feeding into more successful. And the second main obstacle, if I may say, that we again must see in Ireland to help the action plan become more integrated across government departments and walks of life is a socially responsible and a green transition procurement policy and approach to procurement, whereby social economy organisations are supported in a wide range of technical things. They're in the action plan. I won't repeat them. But very importantly, we did a quick survey of our members before coming here today, and very importantly, it's those who are responsible for public procurement to help those people understand how to deal with the animal that is the social economy organisation.
Okay. I'm very interested to hear that you've managed to get this message through different departments. I'd like to come back to Commissioner Schmit and say, I hear that other commissioners know all about this plan. How did you manage to work on a horizontal level? Because that's a challenge in all authorities, local, regional, national, is the horizontal level of communication. How did you manage to do it? Did you all go for a coffee?
No, first I would say it's a bit the way how this commission works. And this facilitated the way how we put precisely social economy not only on the agenda of the commissioner more in charge of it, but making understand by all the others that social economy is also part of their department, of their portfolio. Take environment. Well, social economy can play a tremendous role in environment. The Commissioner for Industry, internal market. Well, if I look backwards a few years, I never met the Commissioner for Internal Market in a conference on social economy. Now this has changed. We work together. Social economy has become an ecosystem as such, equal to all other major industrial or economic ecosystems. So this is a recognition. It was mentioned in one of the speeches, circular economy. Well, it can be a fantastic tool to promote circular economy. So the commissioner in charge of that adopted also social economy. So I think this is the way how now we have to work at the commission level, at member state level, at local level, and just one word, if you allow me, on public procurement. Public procurement is essential when you look at the numbers and the importance of public procurement in GDP. Now, the directive on public procurement allows already now to take fully into account social and environmental aspects. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's not done enough. So we have to build up now a culture, but also some kind of pressure to say to those working on public procurements, well, please, there is another aspect. It's not just about financial advantage, being a bit less expensive or more. It's also about the impact. And the impact, social impact, environmental impact is fundamental. And here, social economy, social enterprises can play a fantastic role. And at the end, even financially, it's a win-win.
Mm. Professor Mazzucato says that storytellers rule the world. In other words, the way you tell the story, it allows you to rule the world. And we can see different stories being said at this moment. I'd like to tell you a very short story. I trained 250 civil servants in the north of Poland in public procurement, the socially responsible one. And the penny dropped when we started talking about soup. When the lady who is writing out all these incredibly complicated pieces of paper understood that she could influence what is in the plate of her daughter who is in the school where she is buying things for, and that the soup could contain more healthy food, that's what it's about, responsible public procurement. So I tell that story everywhere now, because it's in the soup for our baby, for our young child, for our adolescent. Yeah. I'm very, very pleased to welcome somebody from Central and Eastern Europe. So we're going to Romania this time. Our geography is improving. Angela Achitei, president of the foundation ADV. ADV?
ADV means Close to You Foundation in translation. Mm-hmm. And we are the biggest org integration social enterprise from Romania. So I'll speak a little bit about what feels a social entrepreneur about this social economy action plan. But first of all, I would like to say that I'm representing also the RISE. RISE is the national network of work integration social enterprises from Romania, and also the cluster accelerator of social enterprises from Romania, in which we are having more than 60 social enterprises now. Of course, because it's not enough to work at the local, national level, we are part of the ANC network with RISE Romania, and also members on ASPD network. And I want to congratulate these networks because they did a very great work to provide feedback and content for the social action plan, social economy action plan. And also I know that other networks with which we are collaborating, like Social Economy Network, Diesis, Euclid, and FEBEA, are key voice. And probably this is important to think and to act not just local, but to be part of this European networks and to try also to go with the local voice to the European level voice. What also we are doing and we are trying to develop this sector, not just in Romania, but also in Eastern Partnership, because we are having programs in Moldova, in Ukraine, and also we're starting to work with Georgian and Armenian countries. And we are very happy that we can share with them this action plan of social economy and to say, look, the European Union has a vision about this sector. This sector, it's so important because we are providing social impact, but also economical impact for the communities. Regarding the action plan, and I'm very pleased to have this intervention and discussion. From a social entrepreneur view, the biggest challenge is to access to the market. And the market, I mean from 2 points of view. One is the public procurement and private procurement, not only public, but also access to financing. And accessible financing for social enterprises, because when you want to go in the market and to sell your products and services, you also have to be competitive on the market. And to be competitive on the market, you need money for digitalization, for research, for innovation, and also to grow this competitiveness on the market. And for example, in Romania, I used to look on the different data, the statistical data. For example, in Romania, the social financial support for a person from disadvantaged group are around 52 euro per person per month. If the states and the public authorities will understood how important it is to buy and to make this public responsible social procurement and to support the social enterprises, even to give this money to the disadvantaged people, I don't say that it's not important to help them, but not to be a long time, to be a shorter time. The states will receive back around 210 euro per each person. I mean taxes for salaries, because the work integration social enterprises are hiring these people from vulnerable groups. And what we should understand that the vulnerable groups are, they have a cumul of the problems, and we need a package of services, integrated services. Mm-hmm. And these services should be accessible in the community in the principle one-stop shop. When we are coming to this work integration social enterprises, they to be able to provide a package of services for this integration. And regarding the access to financial market, I know that in different countries in Europe, it's a very nice history and experience on providing this kind of loans and also grants, crowdfunding and other types of financing. In Romania, we don't have so many types of tools, and it's very important to develop these tools. And that we did in Romania. 5 months ago, we started to build the first non-financial bank institution dedicated for social enterprises. This financial non-bank institution will be also a social enterprise, registered as a social enterprise. And I think this is very nice because we saw in 5 months, 172 people became shareholders of these non-banking social institutions. Most of them are social entrepreneurs. And this is important to see that if we are having a need in the community, we have to act, not to wait for the states, for the commission, or other institution to do this. Where something is, we don't have, it's a big challenge to build these tools.
So let's not wait. Commissioner, we can't wait. So what does this mean? And a question to all four of you. I would like to ask you, how are you actually disseminating the plan? Are you bringing the enterprises together to say, this is the European plan, what is our position? What is physically happening with the plan when you go home? What are you doing with it? Because the fact that it is not enough. Young children, they run around, you know, they discover everything, they want to eat. What are you giving them to eat? The plan needs eating. What's the food coming from the social enterprises and from your networks? Whoever wants, please. Yes, please. Deirdre.
Well, from our perspective in Ireland, what we have done as an organisation is to make a major investment into a whole area of social economy work.
I thought you were going to say a major investment into the plans. I wondered where the building was.
So what we have done is, we've made a major focus on it and an investment. And what we have also done is to actually take the concepts of that plan, to consult with our members and to create, in one sense, I would like to call it almost like a manifesto as to how we, the wheel, take on board, how we translate, how we interpret, how we domesticate, thank you.
Yeah.
This plan for what we see in our organisation and what our members see, right? And that is nearing fruition, and we are going to be publishing that very soon and launching a range of programmes that will spawn out of that. So that I guess, interpretation from our perspective, that will become our core document in Ireland. So it's almost like the Irish version of it. And it will drive a range of practical training programmes, because we are the largest non-profit training support organisation for social economy groups in Ireland. And as I mentioned, in relation to our public policy and engagement work with government, it is driving our engagement around the skills and around public procurement.
Okay.
And lastly, it is engaging with our members to understand and socialise with our members what it offers for them in terms of a calling card, for them to go into local government, for them to go into their world. And I give life to this plan by holding it and saying, it says here X and therefore Y is possible now.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing.
Fantastic.
Commissioner?
Yeah, fantastic. I think this is exactly what the purpose of the plan is. Certainly, we have now to work on certain issues also at European level, but it's not from Brussels, from my office or other commissioner's office, where we can direct what happens in Ireland in social economy. We give just the impulse, we give the push, we give the ideas, but then this has to be adapted, translated in the very diverse landscape of social economy all over Europe. And I think if this is the way how it is dealt with, it's already a big success. And the second remark I would say, well, the purpose of the plan is to take a social economy out of the margins and to put it in the center of our economic, social, environmental, and societal developments. And I think we are on the right track.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, I would like to say something, because I would like to relate to what Angela was saying earlier. Like we started working with the social action plan long before it was actually adopted by the Commission, because the action plan for the social economy was developed together with us, the actor, and is actually incorporating all our needs and all our hopes for the future and what we want the social economy to be. What we do now, we take the plan and we go with it to the public actors, the public authorities in our local, regional and national level, and say, look, it's not only us saying that this is important, it's the Commission and the European Union saying that this is important, and you also have to say and show that it is important. And in this way, the social action plan has all the potential to be a game changer at the national level, I would say. And also it will help us to be like a door opener, like to really put the social economy in the center of things, as you were saying earlier. And it's working because, to take an example for Sweden and our work as Coompanion, we work quite a lot with organizing the actors and local levels. So we have like local networks of actors which are like involved into developing in the economical and social development at local level. And it's not only social enterprises and social economy, it's public authorities, it's a business representative, and it's the non-governmental sector. And we notice that when we work together like this in this kind of networks, this is then we achieve like a real impact. And also we can promote a real understanding of what the social economy is.
Great. Juan Antonio.
Sí, siempre hemos sido conscientes en Social Economy Europe de la importancia de las políticas europeas en favor de la economía social. De hecho, en 2014 elaboramos un libro blanco de la economía social y ya en aquel momento pedíamos un plan de acción para la economía social y empezamos a participar. En 2017, el Intergrupo de Economía Social nos solicitó elaborar un documento sobre la importancia de las políticas europeas para la economía social. Y en 2018, todos los socios de Social Economy Europe elaboramos un documento sobre un futuro plan de acción para la economía social que le presentamos al vicepresidente Katainen. Ya no dio tiempo en ese mandato a ejecutarlo y pasó al siguiente. Y en 2021 hemos elaborado también un documento que recoge las necesidades y las propuestas de todos los socios de Social Economy Europe para que es como la co-creación del plan de acción y hemos aportado a la Comisión Europea para participar. Siempre hemos estado muy sensibilizados con la importancia que suponen esas políticas públicas para el desarrollo de la economía social. Ahora, y ayer le comentábamos al comisario en la Asamblea de Social Economy, estamos elaborando un documento para la implementación del plan de acción. Es importante esta segunda fase, que es la implementación de las políticas, cómo se van a llevar a cabo, en qué periodos, en qué momento. La primera de las implementaciones es la necesidad de una recomendación a todos los gobiernos para sensibilizar en favor de la economía social. Es importante que esa recomendación, que ha de ser conjunta, se apruebe a lo largo del año 2023, porque va a suponer la constancia, la constatación de la posibilidad de elaborar políticas públicas en este sentido. Yo creo que desde Social Economy, que hemos trabajado con el Intergrupo de Economía Social en esta elaboración del plan, que hemos trabajado también, estamos elaborando ahora mismo, colaborando con el Parlamento Europeo en el documento que está haciendo sobre el plan de acción, y también participamos a través de jeques y a través de otras instituciones en este momento en las que participamos, pues en la Red contra la Pobreza, etcétera, pues somos conscientes especialmente de cómo se tiene que desarrollar este plan de acción. Y entre las posibilidades que nos ofrece el plan, que no quiero dejar pasar, hay una muy importante para la economía social. Cuando hablaba de cambiar de escala, también hablaba de dar un paso hacia arriba en la necesidad de la interlocución. Que la economía social participe en el diálogo social a corto o a medio plazo nos parece fundamental por el peso. Antes señalaba el comisario el peso de la economía social. Estamos al nivel de sectores tan importantes como el transporte en Europa. Por tanto, el peso de la economía social tiene que ser conocido, reconocido y valorado, y al mismo tiempo representado en los foros donde podamos interlocutar para mejorar esas políticas públicas para la economía social. Trabajamos con el Pacto por las Competencias y la consecuencia de todo esto ha sido que la economía social es uno de los 14 ecosistemas industriales que ha definido la economía social.
You wanted to add something?
Well, just one word on the recommendation, because that's the next step, because we have now to maintain the momentum. Also the political momentum. It's maintained through all the initiatives at local, regional, and also national level. But we have to go on giving positive and strong signals from the European side. I'm very happy to hear what has been said when you come and say, well, it's also the Commission supporting social economy, so please reflect. So we will present a recommendation which is much more legal and where we try really to push on some legal aspects, on access to market and so on. And this will be a political debate in the Council. So national governments have to take position towards the recommendation and towards what we are planning. And also this recommendation, we will work together with all of you to work it out before we present it to member states.
Any idea of the calendar?
Yes, next year. Next year, mid-next year.
Mid-next year, okay, really good. Can we have the lights on in the room, please? I'd like to see if there is somebody who would like to ask this honourable panel a question or two. They have to be very short. We have 2 microphones, one here and one here. Who's the first person? Yes, please, come down. Come down. There are only 2 mics here. It's the only way we can have a translation. Oh, yes, I see. It's Spanish. It's called Victor. And it's from Social Economy Europe. Okay.
I don't know if it is a question. I think that the panel was very clear on one idea, the fact that all hands are needed to implement this plan. We have it out. The metaphor of the baby is fantastic. Everybody understood it. But what we need to understand collectively, and we have 2,000 people registered today, is that all hands are needed. We need to give it alive. We need to make it alive. We need to make proposals and accompany the European Commission to implement it, accompany member states, accompany local authorities. So as Angela said, the key, it's not always policy papers. They are relevant. The key is action and the key is cooperation. We need to work together at all levels. We are a family. We need to understand that. The family of the social economy, which is diverse and which is a driver of innovation. So one fantastic result of this conference with 2,000 Europeans working on social economy is more cooperation. Let's stick together to make our dreams come true. And in 2030, if today we have 6.3% of all jobs in the European Union having 10% of jobs, so 20 million jobs generated by the social economy, we can achieve it. We are the engine of innovation. That's the message.
Thank you very much, Victor. Can you make it smaller, the microphone? Because you didn't grow when you were a baby.
Yeah.
Victoria from Lithuania.
So Victoria from Lithuania, little but very committed to democracy and freedom country, as you know. My question is, yes, 2023 is good, but today we have pandemics, today we have war in Ukraine, today we have climate crisis. What to do now? It's great we will work on that in parallel, but dear honorable speakers, what would be your message to us, what we can do now and how your respective institutions help in solving these urgent problems? Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Victoria. So urgency and policy planning, etc.
A very good question. I think the COVID-19 pandemic is the perfect example of how swiftly social economy organizations were to the fore. And I know this from Ireland, but I am absolutely sure every country represented here would have been exactly the same. So what we can do now is collectively act in solidarity with each other within our own countries and indeed across Europe to make that case. We were there when the public and the society and indeed the economy needed us. It is right now, we are here right now dealing with the fallout in one respect of the war in Europe, and articulating what national associations can do is to put words and vocabulary in the hands of local actors and work with colleagues in our organizations at all levels to make the case for investment, for understanding right now within our organizations. We don't have to wait. We can, for example, in Ireland, we have a great policy. We have actors here. The Irish Social Enterprise Network, I know, is here somewhere. We work together in an inclusive way. That would be my contribution for what we can do right now in national associations.
Super. Yes, please.
Hace unos meses, hace un año, Anna Tanasopoulos, la directora general, decía que la pandemia había hecho que la Unión Europea volviera su vista hacia las empresas de economía social, por sus compromisos, por su capacidad de resiliencia, por su solidaridad en los momentos más difíciles. Bueno, en este momento la pandemia, la situación de la guerra en Ucrania, lo que hace en definitiva es sacar a la vista de todos el compromiso, la resiliencia de la economía social con los que menos tienen y con los que están pasando más dificultades en este caso. Por tanto, yo creo que lo que hay que hacer es apoyar en todo momento. Ayer Petros nos planteaba el apoyo de la economía social para reconstruir, que va a ser fundamental la economía social para reconstruir Ucrania también. Y ahí vamos a estar desde Social Economy.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, linking on to what you're saying, today at 15:30 in the room London, there is a workshop on the Ukraine with Pedro and with Alina, and we will be trying to list what it is that each one of us wants to do, can do, will do in terms of refugee crisis on one hand, rebuilding the Ukraine on the other hand. That's just a little bit of publicity for Pedro. Yes, please. Ladies first.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Ana Margarida Esteves. I'm here on behalf of the University Institute of Lisbon and the RIPES as well. From the video that you've shown on the social and solidarity economy perspectives here for Strasbourg, I got the impression that the framing of social and solidarity economy that you have is very similar to the framing promoted by the Transition Network and even the Global Eco-Village Network. The difference is the Transition Network and the Global Eco-Village Network are rooted in the political cultures of the Germanic and Scandinavian parts of Europe and also of the Anglo-Saxon part of Europe, while the social and solidarity economy movement is very much rooted in the Francophone and Southern European political traditions. However, you're looking in exactly the same dimension and you have, I can say, the same goals. What are the perspectives for bridging across these movements and across political cultures? Because it makes no sense to
how do you propose to bridge it?
Well, it's what my research team is studying, but we also need to hear from you because we cannot come up with these ideas alone. Our role as scholar activists is to collect information and to bridge between stakeholders.
I think this is a very important question. It brings to me the idea that, okay, Deirdre, you say we do it in Ireland. Okay, you say we do it in Romania. But how do we do it between us? We need to do the same as the Commission. The commissioners are all implicated in the plan. So the nations and the social economy structures have to be implicated in the plan. We'll take one more question because time is running short. Yes, please. Sorry.
One short question to Mr. Schmit. How important is for the EU Commission and for you the reduction of the youth unemployment in Europe?
You want to come here as well?
Okay, thank you very much. If we can remember that, and we take one last question, please. I'm trying to keep the time, so I'm the wicked person today. Don't worry, don't forget.
Bonjour, Fatima Yen, vice-présidente de la collectivité européenne d'Alsace. Ma question au commissaire, bien sûr, c'est que comment les territoires peuvent s'intégrer dans ce plan, le plan européen de l'économie sociale et solidaire. Et sachez que la collectivité européenne d'Alsace pourrait se porter candidat. Voilà, c'est ce que je voulais dire.
So, this is the bouquet of questions. Take what you want. Commissioner.
Well, for the first question, the different cultures, the different names, and so on. But I think now we have created the basis that people, even if they use different names, they are talking about the same thing. And I think this is finally what Europe is about. There are different cultures in Europe in many areas, but we try to bring these cultures, these different approaches together and find the common interest. And I think this is what we have to do with the social economy. And I think that the action plan can be helpful, as it has been marvelously said, how it is translated in Ireland. It will be translated somewhere in Sweden, in Germany, or in Romania. And finally, the way how you are discussing today brings things together and points out the common interest. The second one is very dear to my heart.
On that one, are you going to bring us together in a year to see what each country has done?
I have to say that there are fora where member states are represented or they are representatives for social economy. They talk together, they discuss, The GECAS, this is an advisory body to the Commission, and they exchange and they learn from each other. They bring ideas also to the Commission, but also to each other. So I think we have to promote this exchange culture, which is deeply rooted already in, and I think Social Economy Europe is also a way how this can be promoted and strengthened.
Okay, sorry to have interrupted.
No. Second, yes, youth. Well, we launched now an initiative on young entrepreneurship, and we want really young people to be involved there. That's first. Second, I think indeed youth unemployment remains one of the big priorities of the Commission, and we know that social economy can be an incredible tool to give jobs, especially to the most vulnerable young, to those who are forgotten, to the needs, those who have left school and do not find their place on the labor market, and finally, very often, in society. And I think here social initiatives can be extremely helpful to bring back these young people, to prepare them for a job, and at the end, to integrate them into the labor market. So I think here social economy can be an extremely important and useful actor. But that's you have to contribute. But there's also an issue for money, and that's
Please don't forget that by the main entrance there's what we call the youth village. The young people have been working for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we will see the results tomorrow afternoon at 1400.
My last question is on local, territorial dimension. I think per definition, social economy is very much linked to the territories, to a local dimension. It has been said by everybody. And we are now working on this dimension. We have listened to the President of the Committee of Regions, to the Committee of Economic and Social Economic and Social Committee, and I think we have now to see how territories, how local authorities can be more involved in that. And here again, I have asked this committee, the GECAS, together with other initiatives, to work on the territorial dimension of the implementation of the action plan. Because if we do not have the contribution of local authorities, of territorial authorities, well, we will not be able really to bring this social economy to all people in all parts of Europe. So I think this is something, and that's also about money, and that's about the debate and dialogue we have with member states, where the money has to go, because member states, they have their say in that. So we are now working on the different partnership agreements. We want to include also more money for social enterprises, social economy. So we have to convince member states to allocate more money in that sense. And this, at the end, goes also to local authorities. And my last point is, yes, we will create also new financial facilities, but they have to be accessible, because the point is Europe has very often money, but for many entities this money is not accessible, too complicated, too difficult. So we will create first a way how this will be facilitated, some single gateway also at European level, and that's also addressing the issue of territorial and local authorities. Thank you.
So the last question, very short, please.
Yes, thank you. Jamila Hassani, I'm talking on behalf of ESS France Outre-mer, who is representing overseas regions and overseas countries and territories. Well, thank you so much for having all this here. Mr. High Commissioner, Mr. Schmit, thank you so much for bringing up this action plan, because you're talking about youth. Well, it's a great idea, because in our territories, you have to know that half of our population is actually under 26 years old. So this offers a great laboratory for experiences for social economy economy and for development. You were also, all of you, talking about interregional collaboration, and that's something that we are already experimenting in the Indian Ocean. So I hope that in this social economy action plan, our realities and our experiences could also serve, you know, to bring fruitful collaborations to mainland Europe, because oftentimes we know that, for instance, in certain funds, overseas countries and territories are not always taken into account. So we really hope that Mr. Schmit, you will be able to also to integrate it into the discussion and that we would not be forgotten. Thank you so much. It was just more of a comment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of your patience and we're coming to the end of time. So I have to declare this part of the conference finished. Obviously, yes, okay. If you want to talk to some of these people, they are available, but there are also many, many other people who are actors of the plan who are available in the room. Talk to each other during lunch, exchange, and we will all see you later on in the different workshops. Have bon appétit.